Apple got an explosive move today. It held the $200 level absolutely perfectly, and today it was up over $10. It's up over 5%. We had multiple days where we were trading outside of the lower level of the Bollinger Band here. And when the stock trades outside of the lower bands like this, it denotes extreme overextension to the downside. When something is trading overextended to the downside, there becomes a higher probability chance that there tends to be a bounce afterward. And that is exactly what ended up happening with Apple. To this extent, I was not expecting it to happen in one day. But that's exactly what ended up happening. Buyers stepped in very aggressively. And I was mentioning in yesterday's video, if buyers did not step in aggressively, then this would cause a massive drop in Apple. But today, we gapped upward. We opened at 205, 206 area, and we ended up skyrocketing almost to 217 today. So this was almost a $17 move intraday. And this was a fantastic bullish reversal on Apple. Apple's bullishness caused the entire market to be bullish today. Tesla and Apple move in unison. So Tesla also had an enormously amazing bullish move. We finally broke above the 316 level that I was mentioning on Tesla. Once again, similar situation as Apple. Similar situation. We were very, very stagnant. We were not making any new lows, and we were not making a break above these levels of resistance. We eventually broke above the 38.2% at 315. We got a solid close, but now we are trading right below 320. Now, is this going to finally act as a level of support? Or are we going to break above 320, 323 area? And if we do that, then this is almost guaranteed going to see 50. Tesla is all Tesla really needed was a bit of direction. Tesla, as you can see, this is clearly a bull flag. This is clearly very, very bullish on Tesla. It's just the issue was you're either going to buy Tesla as it falls lower, or you're going to buy Tesla as it breaks above a major level of resistance. And currently, that's what's going on right now. If Tesla can break above 325, that becomes an enormously much better buying opportunity, in my opinion. AMD is obviously down huge today. We came to a major level of support at this 160 to 160 area on AMD. I was mentioning how yesterday this would be an amazing buying opportunity. I don't think that's changed. As AMD broke, obviously, to the downside due to earnings, this 158, 160 area on AMD is an amazing buying opportunity. Overall tech stocks, the overall market is remaining longer-term bullish. We cannot expect AMD to just capitulate and really just break into new lows. It could happen. It could happen, by all means. But this becomes a good opportunity to start adding into your long position. All of these dips that we're getting in the market are good long positions for the long term. And as AMD came to this level of support, same concept. Amazon with a monstrous bounce today. It bounced almost exactly same setup as Apple. We were trading outside of the lower level of the Bollinger Bands. Very far overextended. Very, very situation for a bounce to occur. We ended up bouncing very aggressively. This denoted extreme overextension to the downside, according to the Bollinger Bands, as Apple did also. Buyers stepped in very aggressively. It broke above every major level of resistance within a day. Amazon was up 4% today, almost a $9 move. And now, as you can see, it tapped exactly on this target, this resistance line, the 222 level. Can't argue with this. This was extreme buying pressure. After earnings, right? It reclaimed itself. As I was explaining, all of these were good buying opportunities on Amazon. But for us to reclaim and be bullish in one day just goes to show how strong a lot of these setups are. Apple, Amazon really saved the market today. Tesla as well. But if they did not get enough buyers like this today, AMD's earnings, SMCI's earnings would have caused the market to start to tumble. These stocks really, really saved the market in general. Netflix, the movie streaming software, is starting to bounce as well. We held 1150. It's up almost 2.5% today. It reclaimed 1170. This is almost begging for a bit of a bounce here. This is really, really begging for a bit of a bounce. This is a falling wedge. This is the first onset of some sort of bullishness at the lows here. It's begging for a bounce. I would be very surprised if Netflix does not come and retest the 1220, at least, in my opinion. And that's just something to take into consideration. If Netflix is also going to be bullish alongside Apple, Tesla, and Amazon, the overall market should be trying to become bullish as well. I would be surprised if we don't. Meta's flat. Meta didn't really do much. A lot of the money flowed into other stocks that were beaten down. That's the name of the game sometimes. Meta is just not doing too much. Microsoft is also not doing too much. It's coming back and retesting the trend line. Microsoft has major support at 523.50 for tomorrow. It needs to hold that level for tomorrow. But as you can see, the natural winners, very, very either flat or red today. Same concept with Google. No, barely a move today, up 0.8%. Regardless, money is going to flow into the losers and flow out of the winners when these moves occur. Money went into Apple, Amazon, Tesla, and Netflix. When the overall market is going bullish, needs to be a higher risk reward probability to the long side. And those were the stocks that met that criteria. Now, we have to monitor the VIX. Monitoring the VIX is very, very important because it has an inverse relationship to the overall market. When the VIX is rising, that means the overall market should be falling. And the VIX is now trading below $17. The $17 level on the VIX is basically the bull to bear line for this move before. If we're trading below 17 on the VIX, that means the overall market is bullish. If we're trading above 17 on the VIX, that means the overall market bearish. Currently, the VIX is at 1670. That is not very, very bullish for the VIX. Clearly, right now, we can see the VIX breaking support. Broke below 17. Now it can fall even lower. So that's something to take into consideration. Money is flowing into the loser tech stocks. It is not as clean to be completely bearish. A lot of these loser tech stocks are getting massive rips to the upside. When a lot of these stocks are starting to show a lot of strength, it becomes a bit difficult to be extremely bearish. The one thing that we have to continue monitoring is the VIX, and also the other main thing is Microsoft. So if Microsoft really starts to break below this trend line, then this can really become overall bearish for the market. This would be one of the first instances of a massive drawdown, because a lot of these stocks, what ended up happening was AMD, Amazon, Apple. A lot of these stocks ended up reporting pretty decent earnings, but the stock price themselves dropped dramatically. Generally, that's not a bullish sign. That is not really an amazing bullish sign for the overall market or the health of the stocks. That's generally very bearish for stocks that they're falling in price as good earnings are reported. So we need to take that into consideration. And that's first and foremost. So yeah, like we know that a lot of these large tech stocks got a big bounce today. But this is not exactly something to be extremely, extremely bullish about, because the winning stocks are not showing as much strength. So that's the only real main concern. The VIX, Microsoft, and the fact that a lot of these major tech stocks in general after earnings started to show weakness. If Apple and Tesla did not get a rip to the upside today, market would have just tumbled very, very aggressively. Very, very bad for the open, in my opinion. It's not even in my opinion. It really, really gave way. But those two stocks held the market up. And Amazon's technical buy as well. These are not just the fact that those are holding the market up is not enough, in my opinion. These stocks need to start showing some strength and brevity again. And AMD dropping that aggressively after reporting pretty decent earnings shows there's a lot of misconstrued there's a lot of misconstrued price action and a lot of problems. So that's something that we have to take into consideration as well. But that is that. Last but not least, the Russell is also within the 50% fib, the 618% fib. As you can see here, the Russell 2000 is trading within this holding, trading within the 5 and the 618% fib. If we can break above it, then it's definitely more bullish. But this is a major, major inflection point for the Russell 2000. If this breaks to the upside, it's bullish. If it fails here, then we can rip down lower. But the Russell was one of the main reasons why I was a bit bullish on the market, because we were so far overextended downside. According to the Bollinger Bands, as you can see, it led to a nice bounce, but now we're stagnating. Generally, on these bounces, you don't want to be bearish on something that was this overextended to the downside. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see if this continues to rise or fall here. And with that being said, you know, there's not really much else to look at except crypto. So Bitcoin, as you can see, is stagnating here. This is not something that is extremely bullish, and it's not extremely bearish either. We were very far overextended to the downside, according to the Bollinger Bands on Bitcoin. This shows extreme overextension. When we are extremely overextended to the downside on a stock, it leads to a bounce. That's exactly what ended up happening on Bitcoin. Why we bounced. But now we're stagnating. We're holding below 116. This is chopping within a range. A very tight range. This is not the most bullish, nor is this the most bearish. What's interesting, though, is that the same concept is happening with Solana, and the same concept is also happening with Ethereum. Ethereum is the more strong out of the three, but all three of them are chopping around within a tight range. Now, we don't know how much longer this is going to go. We know that the Russell 2000 heavily influences crypto. Crypto is heavily influenced by the Russell 2000. The reason for that is because in the Russell 2000, there are many banks, large banks, hedge funds, regional banks, all within it. So because all of these banks essentially invest in crypto, these banks are invested, hedge funds are invested in crypto. These are assets. So companies that hold assets are in the Russell that are more economically sensitive. So that's why it moves much more closely to the Russell than it does the S&P 500. Crypto moves much more closely to the Russell than the S&P 500 or even tech. So that's currently something to take into consideration. And that is another reason why, as the Russell is chopping around here, see the NASDAQ is making new highs. You can see the SPY chopping around a bit as well. But the NASDAQ is making new highs. It's stronger. So if, this just goes to show even further that this correlation between crypto and the Russell is much, much stronger than NASDAQ. So with that being said, the NASDAQ is still trading below the 618% fib here at 23,500. S&P 500 is also trading below this. And the Russell also trading below the 618. You need to see if these large tech stocks are going to hold the overall market up. I don't know if they're all going to be able to do that, but we're going to have to wait and see. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I will see you. Have an amazing